Growing up fascinated by apex predators, I always wondered about the greatest battles never filmed. What if I told you that the most brutal lion versus tiger encounters weren't in modern documentaries, but carved in stone nearly 2,000 years ago? Rome, AD 80. The inaugural games of the Colosseum were about to begin. The sand was freshly raked, and 50,000 spectators held their breath in anticipation. From iron cages emerged two magnificent predators that would never meet in nature. A massive Barbary lion from the Atlas Mountains and a Caspian tigress from the forests of Armenia. A vast, untamed world filled with creatures of legend. For Rome, an empire at the peak of its power, to prove its dominion not just over man, but over nature itself. The ultimate symbol of this conquest, the Barbary lion, Panthera leo. These were the fabled Atlas lions, gargantuan beasts that could weigh nearly 300 kilograms. To capture one alive was a death-defying gamble, a masterpiece of engineering and cruelty. The Roman writer Oppian recorded their methods in chilling detail. One method was a prison within a prison, a deep pit concealed from view, a helpless goat used as bait. The lion, driven by hunger, would leap over a low wall and plummet into darkness, trapped, confused. Then, a cage laced with meat would be lowered. Believing it a path to freedom, the lion would lunge again, only for the gate to slam shut behind it. A wild king, doubly tricked, his spirit beginning to break. At other times, it was a wall of fire and fear. Cavalry would storm through the foothills, their drums and torches striking terror into the prides, forcing them into netted corridors where they were ensnared, roaring their defiance into the night. Meanwhile, 2,000 miles away, in the misty forests of Armenia and Hyrcania, lurked a different kind of legend, the Caspian Tiger, a ghost, a solitary hunter of immense power. And here, the Romans' methods grew even more sinister. A full-grown tiger was almost impossible to capture alive, so they targeted their young. Hunters would steal a cub, inciting the mother's furious protective rage. The hunter would race away, dropping the cub when the exhausted tigress got too close. She would stop, retrieve her baby, only for the sadistic relay to begin again, until she was too broken and weary to fight back. Her reward for such devotion? A net and a cage. The capture was only the beginning of the agony. Now came the journey. A logistical nightmare that turned wild animals into broken cargo. For every 4 lions loaded onto ships in North Africa, records suggest 3 died before ever seeing Rome. The mortality rate for the tigers on their even longer journey was higher still. A staggering 80% perished en route. A letter from the Roman official Symmachus reveals the cold, logistical reality of this trade. The panthers I paid for have arrived, but what use are they? Starved and dying. The sea journey has stolen their spirit. They refuse to fight. This is a disgrace to the games. The survivors arrived in Rome not as kings, but as prisoners. They were taken to a place of utter darkness beneath the Colosseum, the Hypogeum. This was a subterranean hell, a maze of corridors and cells where thousands of animals were kept in filth and fear, waiting to perform or perish. The wild spirit was systematically dismantled. Beastmasters, known as bestiari, used starvation as a tool, feeding the animals just enough to keep them alive, but hungry enough to be aggressive. Their training was torture, whips, prods, and drugs to make them vicious on command. They were no longer animals. They were weapons, their natural instincts twisted into a grotesque parody for the arena. At last, the day of the games, the climax of this imperial machine. During the Colosseum's inaugural games, 9,000 animals were slaughtered in 100 days. This was more than entertainment. It was a visceral assertion of power. Even the wildest corners of the earth submit to Caesar. And then, the moment. The Barbary Lion emerges, his mane, a shadow of its former glory, his eyes holding the memory of a lost kingdom. From the other side, the Caspian Tigress steps onto the sand. She is lean, silent, her every muscle a testament to the life that was stolen from her. For a moment, the arena is still. The poet Martial, who witnessed the events that day, immortalized what occurred next. This tigress, once described as gentle, now in fury, rended the fierce lion with her maddened tooth. The crowd, expecting the king of beasts to triumph, was stunned. The impossible had happened. The mysterious predator from the east had toppled the symbol of African power. During the inaugural games of the Colosseum, a vast array of animals from the conquered world were slaughtered, including Gallic bears, North African hippos, and even elephants. However, for the main event, the duel of titans, only 2 species were deemed worthy: the specially captured Barbary lions and Caspian tigers. The spectacle, intended to showcase Rome's absolute control, instead revealed something fragile within the Roman heart. Cicero had described these hunts as an appeal to the worst parts of human nature. Pliny recounted a time when cornered and weeping elephants caused the entire crowd to sob and curse the general who staged the hunt. Ultimately, Rome wasn't merely conquering nature, it was consuming it. The relentless demand for the games drove the Barbary lion toward extinction and sealed the fate of the Caspian tiger. The roars that once echoed through the Colosseum became the dying echoes of entire species. The sand of the Colosseum is a permanent reminder of what we lose when we see these magnificent animals only as objects for our entertainment, but you can be part of their protection today. In the description below, you can grab your free lion, tiger, and elephant knowledge cards. They're a way to connect with the real animals behind the legends, to protect and play with the wild in a way that honors them. We've seen how they got to the arena, but what really happened when these titans collided? In episode 2, we dissect the fight itself. Barbary lion strength versus Caspian tiger stealth. Brute force versus cunning strategy. We'll answer the savage question that has echoed through the ages. Who is the true king of the beasts? Subscribe now so you don't miss the first strike.